Okay. Can I have your attention, please? If I could gather your full attention for the following health and safety notices, I'd appreciate it. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I'm absolutely delighted to see the very large crowd here today. It's a testament how far we've come and how important this particular event is in our annual calendar. But before we kick off, two brief notices. One is for safety and the other is just for courtesy. In the unlikely event of a fire alarm sounding, I would ask you to walk, not run, to the nearest adjacent exit to you, and to proceed all of the way to the footpath outside. Not just out of the building itself, so out to the footpath, please, until you are advised it is safe to return. There are 3 exits from this room, one directly behind you. The main exit through the double doors to my left, and the other at the back door of the hall and the left-hand corner. Please do not return to the building unless you are advised to do so by either myself or a fire marshal. And this second notice is one of courtesy. I would ask that you would all switch off your mobile phones or put them on silent for the duration of the speeches, which I am promised will not take too long. Thank you for your attention. I now call on Choral Confusion to give us their opening song.
Oh Thank you very much. That would be beautiful.
Just one slight change to today's proceedings, and unfortunately due to technical issues, the Mayor of San Francisco, London Breed, we cannot show that particular piece due to technical issues, so our apologies ahead of that. And I call upon the First Citizen Ardvera, Councillor Colm Kelleher, to address the audience.
Thanks, Kieran. It's a great honour and a privilege in my capacity as Ardvera Corky of Vermask and Shaw Tranona to mark what is become an essential part of the city's calendar. Cork City has marked Ida Hobbit every year since 2010 by organising an LGBTI plus awareness week to demonstrate that our city and every public agency within it and our communities and the LGBTI plus and NGOs should and must challenge hatred, prejudice and discrimination directed at people because of their sexual orientation or their gender identity. I welcome you all here to the Millenium Hall this evening as allies, and it is really important work we are making, our city more inclusive, better in recognising our diversity and celebrating our city's motto of Stadio Benefida Canaris, which has been a safe harbour for not all ships but a safe harbour for all of us. I'm delighted to welcome Deputy Mayor of the County, Councillor Audrey Buckley, representing the Cork County Council, and is with us this evening, and that many LGBTI plus awareness events will also happen across Cork County. We are joined by many of our city councillors and elected representatives of Cork City Council, for whom I welcome here, and who have attended and supported this week in even greater numbers over the past decade. And rather than insult any of the elected members, I'd just like to welcome you all as a whole, in case I leave any of you out. I'd like to welcome all the senior representatives of all public agencies and senior representatives of Cork City Council who are here in attendance this afternoon. Ida Hobbit, our International Day Against Homophobia, Lesophobia, Transophobia and Biophobia, is a hard phrase to say. But it's even harder when you're faced with the reality of what these terms mean. As I was when I represented the city at a vigil in the People's Park just over a month ago, in the shocking murders of Michael and Aidan and the vicious homophobic assaults that were reported that week. I'd like to sincerely thank Cork Pride, the Gay Project, the LINC for organising this important event to allow us to demonstrate our revulsion at the horrific events and our solidarity with those who've hated and physically and verbally assaulted and hurt people because of homophobia, lesophobia, transophobia or biophobia. And I'm proud to lead the city that invites everyone to play their part in challenging this hatred of people simply because of who they love or their sexual orientation, how they look or which pronouns they feel most comfortable using. I'm especially proud that 20 years on from the inclusion in Cork City's Development Board strategy that we are trying to live up to our 2002 promise made in imagining our future objective 86, that gay, lesbian and bisexual communities will be enabled to participate fully in social, cultural and economic life of our city. I'm proud that we're still learning, so that LGB Interagency Group, created in 2002, has become the LGBTI plus interagency to help us fulfil that very ambition. Because the T is not silent and the I shouldn't be invisible, and the plus sign means we're open and to keep on learning and to be more inclusive on a daily basis. One of the people who had ensured that Objective 86 was included in our strategy is now Chief Executive Anne Doherty, and one of the original members of that interagency group, and that group that grew out of Objective 86 opened the evening tonight. Siobhan, Chair of the LGBTI plus interagency group, and I'd like to thank her. She's here. My apologies, I didn't put my contacts in today and I was looking to find out to see where you were. Not at all. I want to pay a warm tribute to the LGBTI plus interagency group and each one and each member of you and all the agencies and groups and communities to whom you represent. Every single one of you have helped our city to achieve many historic milestones over the past decade. Cork was the first city to proudly fly the rainbow flag from a civic or public building on the island of Ireland, because of the interagency group, found a mechanism that enabled this council to do this. A flag that we have since raised with Pride Awareness Week and Cork Pride, but equally importantly lowered to half-mast in solidarity and sympathy with the LGBTI plus community over the tragic events that have just happened recently. And this action, the triumph of a principle over protocol, has supported other identity groups to create their own flags, to which Cork City Council now raises proudly over the City Hall to celebrate Africa Week, which begins next week, and Traveller Pride, which will take place in July. I'm reminded of that lovely Leonard Cohen line, "There's a crack in everything that lets light get through." The interagency group found that very crack. A lovely light that is let in was refracted into a rainbow, and intersectional one that allows us to celebrate all of our colours, ethnicities and identities. In another milestone, I'm proud of Cork City's interagency group were named LGBTI Ally of the Year in 2018, and at the galas, and it says in our gorgeous glass balustrade outside, "Allies are key," which we just unveiled, that beautiful balustrade outside, and it was very striking, as Siobhan said when she turned the corner there, that a friend of yours was immediately taken aback by it, because it's in a very prominent position within the civic building within our city, and it sends a clear and loud statement. At this stage of the proceedings, the interagency group have asked that we remember and mark the contribution of one such ally, the late Tony Power. And a lot of you have complimented me on my tie that I'm wearing this afternoon. This isn't actually my tie, this is Tony's tie. So I wear it in memory of the work that our late colleague Tony Power brought to Cork City Council, but also to his city. So. As we all know, the late Tony Power, Social Inclusion Officer here on Cork City Council, and long-standing member of the LGBTI plus interagency group, who died suddenly and tragically so quickly last year. I want to pay a special warm welcome to the family, the partner, friends and colleagues of the late Tony Power here tonight. Tony's legacy deserves recognition, and so too does the generosity of the significant others in Tony's life who shared him with us. I mentioned some milestone events earlier. The interagency group have compiled a photo record of Tony's involvement in these significant events and his help in making them happen. For Tony's daughters, who are here with us this evening, he is of course most warmly remembered for his role in the creation and their lives, in their creation and in their lives, but I know they are very proud of his public service, and I would like to invite Tony's daughters, Aideen and Alison, to receive this memorial plaque of their dad's contribution to our city and especially to the LGBTI plus community. When I think back to Tony, I think about maybe 3 or 4 days before he passed away. He came into the Lord Mayor's office and he was in a mad rush, as Tony usually was. And I think we were unveiling something above in Jerry O'Sullivan Park, if my memory serves me right, up the north side. And the Taoiseach was in attendance and ministers, and he was all running from pillar to post. And I just said to him, I goes, look, just to slow down, take a breather. And he said, it's a lot more stressful than the marathon. And I said, why, Tony, what did you do with the marathon? He goes, on the day of the marathon, I got to play with Patrick Street. So he was in a pivotal part who is severely missed, not only in the city, but here amongst his colleagues, both elected representatives of Cork City Council and his colleagues here on Cork City Council. executive. Some of you are probably curious about the photos on the presentation, so here's a montage compiled from the LGBTI plus interagencies archives dating from 2013 to 21. It also includes photos from some of the social inclusion initiatives that Tony was deeply committed to, including Africa Day, Sanctuary Runners and Mehel Mara. Obviously, it's a visual tribute to a man that his friends and his colleagues and Graham and Cathy said stayed off camera and stayed out of shot as often as he could. The interagency group would like to thank Graham Clifford and Cathy Buchanan for contributing the photos. Over the course of our lives, many of us form new relationships while retaining our strong connections to those we've loved from the outset, blended lives and loves, but all nurturing and sustaining. In recent years, Tony found happiness and contentment with Siobhan Hamill, his partner, and his best mate. So I'd like to invite Siobhan and her daughter Megan to receive this memorial plaque of Tony's contribution to social inclusion initiatives in the city and especially in its LGBTI plus community. As we know, and LGBTI communities are especially aware of, families are diverse and are multiple within Cork City Council, and especially in the community section. Tony found a family of congeniality who nurtured him, mentored and supported him to achieve his potential, and which he in turn shared with his junior colleagues. They also were delighted in his humour and his infectious irreverence. I invite Rebecca Loughrey and Kieran O'Connell to receive this memorial plaque on behalf of the Community and Culture section to mark your colleague Tony's contribution to social inclusion initiatives in the city and especially to its LGBTI community. Last year, Tony stood with my predecessor, Lord Mayor Councillor Joe Kavanagh, and representatives of the interagency group on the plaza outside here of City Hall with the Pulse of Europe rainbow flag. Today I was proud to unveil the rainbow glass balustrade on the same plaza, which very publicly proclaims Cork City Council's commitment to bring strong and supportive allies to the LGBTI community in Cork and our pride at being members of the international network of rainbow cities. My thanks to all in Cork City Council who worked to make the plaza installation happen and for the support of the interagency group. And in a poignant way, my thanks is to Tony as part of his legacy too. As we approach the first anniversary of Tony's death, it was timely and lovely to see a photo montage compiled by our interagency group. And on behalf of all of you and everyone here in Cork City Council, our deep and sincere sympathies to all who love Tony, and we all hope that Tony is now somewhere over the rainbow, but enjoying the colourful view from the other side and hopefully not playing with the traffic on Patrick Street. I've seen a programme of events for the LGBTI Awareness Week, and it ranges from community flag raising in St Vincent's Hurling Football Club and all across the city and county tomorrow. Ida Hobbit seminars, there's 2 of them were taking place, with international exchanges on Wednesday. Memoirs readings at Cork City Library on Thursday, a culture night in the Triskel Arts Centre on Friday, and a rainbow picnic in the People's Park on Saturday, and an Ida Hobbit Day service in our most historic and beloved churches of St Anne's, Shandon on Sunday. So if you do have time when you are around the city, please take time to take part in these events and support. I'm especially delighted to have the involvement of our sister city on Wednesday's seminar, whom we have a Rainbow Cities Memorandum pledging the commitment of both our cities to work to the progress of LGBTI inclusion and equality and progress our joint membership of the Rainbow Cities Network. As Lord Mayor, I'm delighted to officially launch the 2022 Cork LGBTI Awareness Week in person here in the Millenium Hall in solidarity with all of the Ida Hobbit aims, challenging homophobia, transphobia and biphobia. And I'd just like to finish on a personal note. When I travelled to represent the city to San Francisco back in March, myself and Director of Services Paul Moynihan, who's somewhere here with us, we went to visit a museum on LGBTQI rights, which was a museum of one of its first of its kind in the world. And I got to see the suit that Harvey Milk was shot. They have it on display when he was shot in City Hall in San Francisco. And I didn't know the story of Harvey before I went to San Francisco, to be brutally honest with you. But the display that they have there, and when you press the button and the light gets brighter and brighter and brighter, and you can see the light falling on the suit that he was murdered in, and you can see the blood stains, it really resonated with me as a human being that this man was taken down in his prime, purely out of bigotry and out of hate, and obviously taken far too soon. And he was shot the same day that the mayor of San Francisco was shot in his office at his desk, all for hatred from fellow man to fellow human or fellow woman to fellow woman. And that hatred cannot be allowed to flourish and will not be allowed to flourish. And we here as a Rainbow City and Cork City Council are very proud of how far we've come as a society. The 2 brutal murders of those beautiful gentlemen up the country and the subsequently assaults and injuries afterwards cannot be accepted by any society, and man's inhumanity to man should be confined to the past. Obviously, we have a global power influencing a smaller European nation at the moment with the horrific war that's been waged on Ukraine. But what people don't realise, or probably do realise, is that if this bigger aggressor who's using the policy of war to bully a smaller nation gets its way, it'll move further and further west and implement their views on society. And we all know that the rights of people who are different are trampled on in Russia and cannot be allowed to fester and grow. But one thing that I got great enjoyment out of, and I'll finish on this, was that a friend of mine who lives in Barcelona with his partner, who's coming home for a wedding soon enough that I'm very much looking forward to, gave me a Broad pin. And I got to leave that in the museum in San Francisco, and there was pins from all over the world. So now that there's a pin in the museum for LGBTQ2 rights that says Broad in San Francisco. Cormila Mahagov Kaler.
Cormila Mahagov Vera, and I know at this stage we call upon Siobhan O'Dowd as chairperson of the LGBTI interagency, Cork City LGBTI interagency, to address you.
Mine's going to be very, very short because I think really it would be very, very hard to follow the Lord Mayor. I just want to say how pleased we were to mark Tony's contribution over a long period of time. And one of the first photographs it's in the PowerPoint presentation was from 2013 when we didn't have a flag to raise. But there's a joke I could tell, but I won't. But instead, it was Bealtaine, Creative Arts for Everybody. So we got our arts and crafts group to crochet rainbow scarves. And in collaboration with Cork County Council, The Cha and Maya statues outside County Hall were draped in the rainbow scarves. This isn't the original. Mine's a kind of a rip-off, I suppose, of the originals, which are in the Gay Project and in LINC. But even that year, we had an idea about a flag, because John Buttermer, and I see him there, was Lord Mayor at the time and in San Francisco, and had been cajoled, let's say, to make sure that he brought a rainbow flag home with him, because we knew that would help on the protocol. And I think we've got used to thankfully, very visual and visible signs of the city becoming more inclusive, especially of its LGBTI communities. So that's really wonderful. So from that first flag to more flags to, there's been a range of flag raisings that will go from the naval base to Cork County Hall, a community flag raising event, and Cork ETB, HSE, or Cork Kerry Community Healthcare, and I don't know if I'm forgetting any, but anyway, there's lots. You'll find them on the list. And the glass balustrade is really, really gorgeous, and it's some statement of intent by Cork City Council, so thank you for that. I suppose just in terms of visible and visual kind of symbols, the other flags that are flying outside Cork City Hall today are the Ukrainian flags. And I suppose Tony was from the Banner County, so yellow and blue are his county colours. So those are on the presentations as well, and on the presentation here, which we can try and make copies for you, because, there's a bit of last minute. But I also would say Bishop Colton is here with us, and I think he's probably got a great attendance record, so if the school principal was marking him in, he'd do very well and he'd be due a medal. But someone who probably has equally good attendance record is Mary Crilly, and so who will become a free woman of the city in a very short time, a lesbian, and that's going to happen in Dublin as well, with Alva Smith and Kelly Harrington. So I think these are all things that maybe we can be hopeful about, be positive, because Lord Mayor mentioned Tarvey Milk, and I don't know if you had bought a t-shirt while you were in the museum, but there used to be a lovely one called "You Gotta Give 'Em Hope," and so we mark and we challenge homophobia, lesbophobia, biphobia, transphobia. But we also, the other side of that message is about hope, about letting the light in, about finding that crack. We thank Tony for his help in doing that. And I think it's appropriate that they're the Clare colours, they're the Ukrainian colours, but his solidarity extended across the city, across social inclusion initiatives, and, beyond the boundaries of here as well. So that's brilliant. So the last thing to do is to say thanks, and there's loads of you to thank. I am going to thank the LGBTI interagency group, because they put a huge amount of work in what used to be a week, and kind of has gathered events and policy seminars soon. So people have been really pulling out the stops, and sincere thanks to all of you. So Kate Moynihan from LINC, Ailsa Spindler from the Gay Project, Jack Fitzgerald from Gender Rebels, Phil Corcoran, Sexual Health Centre, Kieran O'Connell, Rebecca Lockery and Ruth Lynch of Cork City Council, Kevin Mooney of Cork Kerry Community Healthcare, Margot Hayes of Cork City Partnership, Elaine Cronin of Cork ETB, Denise Thuig of Thusla, Tom Cronin of the Department of Social Protection, Margaret McKernan of Mercy University Hospital and the South-Southwest Hospital Group, Thomas Talbot from the Cork City Central Library, Sinead Toomey from the Defence Forces, and I suppose on my own behalf I'd say thanks to Balafan, Toker, CDP and Seska, whose nominee I am, who always put their best foot forward for this week. I'd like to thank Anthony Fleming, who helped us go live this evening, which is a first and hopefully not a last. I'd like to thank Hannah's Kitchen, and I hope there's some left, for helping feed and look after us all. I'd really like to thank the staff here in Cork City Council, every single one of them. You know, we draw on their resources hugely during this week, and especially today. And so from whether you're the community section or not, thanks for agreeing to be drafted. It's really, really appreciated. I really like to thank all of you who are with us this evening. Many of you who've been here a good few times with us before. Lots of you. Hopefully maybe there's some of you who are here for the first time, but you want to come back. I sincerely again to thank Aideen and Alison, to thank Siobhan and Megan, to thank every one of the allies who show up and stand with us. That's really appreciated. And finally, I've been waiting for this. This is the first live launch so this is the third year. But it is hugely brilliant to have Cork Confusion back with us. Thank you for the fab opening. Thank you for coming and lending your support as you've done for, 10, 12 years, and for showing up. And kind of at the end, we'll hopefully get a photo of all of you at the glass balustrade as well. But first, can we ask you to sing us out?
Amen.
some reception, some food and soft drinks and so on if you would like to stay a while and network and mingle and so on. Go to Millenium Hall.
Say hello to YouTube, guys.
What happened to Laura? We look like Harry
Oh yeah, sorry, my apologies. All right, folks, looking at me.
Just strike a pose. Guys, let's do poses.
choices. Picture for